I am Tina from Teach the TK Way, and I am going to go ahead and share with you over the next couple of weeks all of my tips and tricks for creating natural classrooms and designing them and making sure that I am giving you the best possible outcome while we provide play-based hands-on activities throughout the year. So I'm glad you're here. I'm so excited to have you. So we're going to go ahead and jump on in, and the first question that I had this week was what is a natural classroom specialist? Who is this person? I'm finding my notes here. What is a natural classroom specialist? And so they are the educator, parent, homeschooler, classroom teacher, anybody who is with children and educating children. Natural classroom specialist is the person who is educating children in a natural environment. They're combining nature, the ideals of Reggio philosophy, Montessori, Waldorf, Charlotte Mason, nature-based classrooms. They're bringing all of those activities and ideas together in a standards-based program, providing play-based activities, and basically what they're doing is they're creating this child-led environment that is reaching standards and objectives across every domain. So that is the natural classroom specialist in a nutshell. The next question that I've had is why? Why are we creating these natural spaces? Now, there's a lot of ideas and interest out there for creating natural spaces. My idea originally to create a natural space was born of the frustration of having this chaotic environment. I had 17 boys on my roster that year, no girls, and it was sheer desperation. I had no idea where to turn. The block center was a war zone, literally, and so I needed to do something. And so I went ahead and started researching all of these thoughts and philosophies and kind of came across this idea that a natural classroom was the way I wanted to go. And mine has evolved in the last 10 years into combining all of these philosophies together to create this cohesive space. So classroom management is number one. Engaged students are definitely going to cut down on the issues that you're running into. An engaged student is a happy student, and an engaged student is a student who's not going to pick a fight with the student next to them because they're interested in what it is that they're doing. Engaged students are also working at their level. They're not having things that are so difficult and having to wait for teacher help that they become bored and distracted and start causing problems. Engaged students are also the students who are working at a higher level and don't need the teacher necessarily over the top of them while they're trying to figure out what's going on and how they can move on. They're not having to wait for the other students. And so this idea of a natural classroom combines all of these pieces so that those students can actually work at their own level throughout the year, throughout the day. And what that does is it cuts down on a lot of those behavior issues. The next reason for creating a natural classroom, so the second reason would be increased productivity. So what happens is when you change your lighting, you change the artificial overhead lights in the classroom, you change out the colors in the classroom to neutral, soothing tones, and everything in the classroom is intentional in its design. All of those pieces together then reduce visual fatigue and productivity increases. So instead of saying, these are the activities that I have to do in the month of September, and oh my gosh, I didn't get to all of them, and now I have to put them into October, and now I'm cramming all of these things, I've actually noticed that by the end of the month, the curriculum that I have to provide is already taken care of because our productivity has increased exponentially just by creating these natural classroom environments. The third reason that I think everybody should have a natural classroom environment is the calm, serene, kind of zen feeling that you get from being in the space. So there's no more dreading Monday mornings for me in this natural classroom space. It's grounded in beauty. I want to be there. The students want to be there. Everything is intentional. The clutter is kept to a minimum. And I will tell you, I am the clutter queen. So if I can do it, anybody can do it. but the clutter's kept to a minimum. And so in turn, what you're running into is this beautiful classroom where everybody wants to participate and be. Which leads me to my next question, which was, is everything in a natural classroom brown, tan, green? You can see behind me my office is green. Is it all of these like neutral colors? What happens if I want to add some color to my space? And I say no. Everything does not have to be brown and tan and boring and neutral. It doesn't. It's up to you. You are the creator of the space. You are the designer of the space. And so there are 5 types of natural classroom teacher. There is the vibrant teacher, the au naturel, the authentic teacher, the minimalist, and the hodgepodge teacher. This is me, the hodgepodge. Let me go through each of them for you. So what a vibrant teacher does is brings in a neutral base. And so that would be black, brown, burlap, tan, that sort of a thing, but then also brings in pops of color. We keep that pop of color to a minimum, or a single color family, but you bring in those pops of color. The au naturel teacher is the person who's all greens and tans and golds and blues, things that you would see at the ocean, things that you would, colors that you would see at the beach, things that you would see on a hike, at a lake, that sort of a thing. Those are the au naturel teachers. The authentic teacher is the one who wants to bring in the authentic materials, glass, wire, texture, lots of texture, natural textures, living plants, living animals. This teacher is the one who really isn't concerned necessarily about what it looks like. They are more concerned with, is the material authentic to the world and the community that they live in. The minimalist teacher is the person who wants black, gray, white. They want to keep everything real clean, clean lines, clean areas, clean spaces, the minimalist. And the last teacher, which is the category I fall into, is the hodgepodge teacher. And this teacher is typically the one who finds whatever is found in the school storage unit. You know the spot. It's the dumping ground every year for all kinds of things, desks and shelving units and toys and manipulatives that nobody wanted. So the hodgepodge teacher, Goodwill, hospital auxiliaries, that sort of a thing. What the hodgepodge teacher does is brings those items into their classroom. They reuse items, they repurpose items, and they recycle a lot of items. And so that's me. And I'm going to tell you the reason that is me is because of budget. I would love to be the au naturel teacher where everything is kind of these neutral colors and everything matches, and the space is like, somebody's living room, but that is not me. I don't have the budget for that. And so as a result, I am the hodgepodge teacher, and there is nothing wrong with that. So the other question is, how long did it take me to design my space? And this is kind of a two-sided answer. So the very first classroom that I decided was going to become a natural space, remember we talked about that one where it was a war zone, and it took me quite a while to figure out what I wanted to do, where I wanted to be, how I wanted to design the space. And so that original classroom was a 5-year period. Now, don't freak out. This isn't going to take you 5 years. I'm not going to, make you wait 5 years to get this done. But it did take me that long. It took me about a year or so for education. I had to educate myself on what was out there. I had to educate myself on where I wanted to go with all of it. The biggest issue that we ran into was I was the director of a parent cooperative preschool. So once I educated myself, I had to educate the staff. Make sure that the staff was on board, make sure that the staff was okay with it. We created an outdoor classroom along with redoing all of our interior spaces. And so what that meant was that my teachers were going to have to be willing and okay with playing in the mud kitchen, playing in the sandbox, and making sure that everybody's vision for the program was the same, and that the mission for the program and the students was the same. So took a little bit of time to sort of get there. Then we had to educate the parents and the administration. Administration was the school that we worked in was connected to a church. And so we had to educate all of the people to make sure that it was okay that we were changing things, because we were going from a very traditional standard program, very cookie cutter, where things were all done very similarly, to this kind of child-led idea. And it took some educating to get everybody on board. They were, but it took some time. The second piece of that was the design aspect. So again, we were renting a space from another entity. We couldn't just go in and knock out walls and change things the way that we wanted to. We had to work with the space that we had. And so the design aspect took a while, because we wanted to be true to this new style of learning that we were bringing in, but we also wanted to be respectful of the space that we were renting. And so design took a little bit longer than normal. And there again, we were a parent cooperative program, so tuition was not real high. So it took a few years to get the budget, again, to completely overhaul this program. I don't think that most of you are going to completely overhaul a program. If you are, go ahead and leave it in the comments, because I can help with that. But if you're not, if you're just looking to transform just your classroom space, I've got you. It's not going to take this long. And then the last piece of it was implementation. And so again, it took an entire summer of implementation, and my staff was on board with that. They spent 3 months out of their summer designing these classrooms and actually putting everything into process in their space. So it was a 5-year process. It took a while, but again, I've got you. It's not going to take us that long. So those were the questions that I had for tonight. If you have any others, please go ahead and leave them in the comments, and I will get to them. My Wi-Fi is a little bit weird here, so I don't see the comments coming up. I won't be able to answer them until the video is over, but I will get to them, and I'll go ahead and answer them. In the next couple of weeks, on Tuesday nights, I'm going to be coming back to you, helping with these tips and tricks to create a natural classroom space. My thoughts on all of this is that you're in the right spot. If you know that you need change, if you know that you want change, but you have no idea where to start, you're in the right space. If you're still skeptical about the behavior management, the classroom management piece of it, you're in the right space. In the next couple of weeks, over the next few weeks, I'm going to prove to you that the behavior management aspect works just by changing your environment. You're in the right space if you have no budget. If you are a teacher who is doing this out of their own pocket and there is $0, you are in the right space. I'm going to be able to help you get to where you need to be without any money. There's nobody else on your campus who's interested in this. There's nobody else who understands it. You are in the right space. I can help you. I can be the teacher next door. When we were designing our classrooms, that was the biggest, most valuable piece for me, was that the teacher next door actually knew what I was trying to do, and I could call her over. I could say, I need you, come on in. And she would come over, and she and I together would rearrange the space. We would work at it. We would stand back. We would look at it. We'd go have lunch. We'd come back. So let me be that for you. Let me be your teacher next door, because I know that not every classroom, not every administrator, not every teacher is on board with this. So let me be that helper friend for you. And if you're just looking for more information to provide better developmentally appropriate practice in your classroom, if you're looking for more information because you want to know how to connect nature and the standards, you want to connect nature and play, you want to connect nature and play and the standards, all three, you're in the right place. So stay tuned, because over the next few weeks, like I said, I will be sharing tips and tricks with you about how to do that. I'm going to share how to transform your space just kind of one tiny piece at a time. So we're going to break it up into actionable steps. There's nothing worse, in my opinion, than going to some kind of professional development, listening to somebody in a podcast, and then getting busy with your day with the rest of your life, and you completely forget what it is that this person talked about. And so this video series is going to be your actionable plan.